Alright guys, welcome back to the live stream here at UK Games Expo 2019. I'm here with Cubicle 7. Just before we get stuck into this, because I am very, very excited. You see, I've taken over from Justin to do this stream, because I'm so waiting for this, is we're going to have a prize running as part of the live streams that you can see, as opposed to the attached to the post. So you can win one of 3 starter packs, bundles, for Monster Apocalypse from Privateer Press. There's going to be one given away on Friday, Saturday and Sunday this weekend, so get stuck into the post there and leave your comments down below. We've got also loads of other stuff there with the live blog and all kinds of things like that. So comment on the post down there to win some good stuff. But yes, I'm here with Cubicle 7 and we're going to be talking about all things role-playing and awesome.
Excellent.
Starting with the thing that everybody was waiting for and everybody has got their teeth stuck into, which is Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, as you can see here demonstrated as the cover of the starter set. So, the main rulebook came out and it's been fantastic. It's been very well received. A lot of people have been diving into it and stuff like that. Can you tell us a little bit about it and sort of like the design process for you getting stuck back into this? So just so people have got like a little bit of an overview, because it was obviously Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay has been through a few iterations right now, and so it'd be nice for people to get a sort of flavour of how it's sort of come together now for you guys.
Yeah, it's I mean it's hugely exciting for me. My first ever game was the first edition Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, so it was an absolute treat to dive in and so design goal wise we were really trying to just capture everything that's been that's been amazing about the game since that first edition all the way through. So we were looking at the all the bad puns and that dark humour that kind of like suffused it, and I think that gave it a lot of lasting appeal, and and really helped to flesh out the Warhammer world. I think for I always like to give a big sort of view of how the setting is experienced by people on the ground. So we've got these wonderful opening spreads here, which we can show off.
We'll see if we can move them under the camera today. And I'm going to demonstrate my skills with knowing what happens with streaming as we go over to this one, so you can see that I got it right.
So we've got the looking there, the on the borders of the Empire, looking through a watchtower, and then the journey through to the village of the Empire, and then heading down through the river system to get to the towns, arriving at the port and entering the town for the first time. Just these little lovely pieces of art that show off the setting.
Because this was one of the things that I first saw when I was looking at the rulebook, because you've got this really nice introductory thing, getting people set for what exactly the grim dark of the old world is, and sort of giving you that overview of exactly how the people are and sort of the locations they're going to be walking around in and stuff like that. So
Yep. So obviously, with such a history game as well, there's some parts of it that just really make it Warhammer as well. I think we've got the class system, where you're choosing your class and your career. That's an important part of who your character is as well. So we've got the
we'll just go back and show you some of the stuff from the careers there. Because these were one of the things that was a real draw to me when I first came to playing this in first edition and then through to second edition as well. I didn't get to play third one, but just that starting out as effectively nothing within the world of Warhammer and working your way through the different careers and classes and sort of just becoming like the heroes that you read about in the Warhammer Army books as well and stuff, and going from like nothing to a hero, which was really good.
Yeah, I've always loved playing a rat catcher. And staying a rat catcher, that's as heroic as I've ever gone.
Those rats won't catch themselves.
I always like to think that there is something very heroic about being the rat catcher who's delving down into the sewers every single day and just dealing with all the horrible stuff down there, because Skaven don't really exist, of course, do they?
Oh, no.
They're just mutants of a different kind.
Oh, yeah. Rats of an unusual size, very uncommon.
And so have a lot of the careers that existed as part of the first edition come back into this one for a lot of people to get stuck into,
Yeah, the one of the things that we did hear from people was that they like the opportunity to move between the different careers, but they also, some people just prefer to stick as the one thing and get
like a rat catcher.
Absolutely. So we added in ranks within those careers, so you can just stay as a rat catcher and become king rat catcher.
That sounds like a perfect thing.
Yeah, definitely.
And did you introduce some new classes and stuff into the mix as well for people and things? Because I saw there was a lot of stuff coming in for a lot of different genders as well. So you've got dwarf females in there as well, I believe, as well, which is pretty awesome to see. It's not something you see in Warhammer very often, which is very cool. But yeah,
very important.
Could you give us a flavour of some of the new ones and stuff that people can get stuck into? Or
No.
I'm making you do this off the top of your head. So.
Yeah, some of them are amalgams of some of
cool.
the previous ones, and I'm trying to think of something that absolutely would be a new one.
Is the protagonist is definitely in the older editions?
Yeah, protagonist was in the old one.
So basically, what we're saying is this was a nice ploy for you to go and get the book for yourself and dive into it and find them out for yourself. You see,
and then come and tell us.
It must have been a long time you got stuck into the design and detail of this.
Definitely. And co-designer Andy Law as well, who couldn't join us today, unfortunately. He's a lot more into the details than I am, as is obviously painfully obvious. So yes, the coachman definitely was.
I'm sure it'll come to you throughout the rest of this.
Now. For the rest of the podcast,
I've made you think about it too much now.
But yeah, by and large, I think it's the ones that you've come to know and love over the years.
And talking about sort of introducing people into it for the first time, one of the big things that came out, I think it was a couple of weeks ago now, and it's sort of like on general release for a lot of people, is the starter set, which you can see here demonstrated at the front of the table here. Can you tell people what's sort of included in that, and sort of like how it gives people a quick start into the world of Warhammer? So.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we'll start with the box itself. When you open it up, it does actually become its own GM screen. So I'll spin that around for you there.
Show it up on this one here.
Oh, there you go.
Bring it over. See the magic of camera work.
Yeah.
So you've got the DM screen in there, and then we've got this absolute. This was one of the things that I saw in the box. And I was like, oh my god, there's a really cool map in there.
Yeah, it's part of the map of the Empire, so it's a great place to start, and you know exactly where you are in the world.
Yeah.
The big thing for us was giving something to everyone, whoever it was, whether they're a returning player or a new player, so they could hop back into the Empire, back into the old world, and experience what we've done to it, basically. So there's all of the pre-generated character sheets of the classic Slayer, and we've got the soldier there, which have quick descriptions on the outside, but don't open them up because all the secrets are on the inside about those characters. So they all have their own objectives and motives to, again, bring people into the world and get them playing quickly. And they'll be playing through the wonderful adventure book.
Which, if you pass it over there, we
I'll
can
put that over there. I think you've got a favourite page in that one, haven't you?
I said the guide to Uber's right. Isn't it?
Oh, yes, it is. Well, the adventure book gets people in, teaches the mechanics. Oh, which one's your favourite?
No, I like it's the character.
It's all right.
So Fall of Characters teaches you how to play while you're playing, and teaches you how to GM it, which was very helpful for me, and takes you on a really, really fun, rip-roaring adventure that just gets you started in the Empire. And then the back of the book is actually filled with some smaller adventures to keep you going after that and introduce you to more little parts of the world that are really, really fun.
So yeah, we're going to switch over and have a look at the guide tubes, right? Because this is one of the things that I saw when I opened the starter set for the first time. I thought this is quite a weighty tome. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
And I was really glad to see that we had that sort of like getting starting thing, sort of diving into it. But then the guide to Ubersreich is the thing that takes you beyond those first sessions. Sort of gives you lots of really nice sort of like details and interesting things to kind of explore beyond what you've done in the first one, and sort of tell your own tales, which I thought was really
good.
So,
I think one of the things I always think when we're doing a starter set, I want it to have some real lasting value at the table. So it needs that, a great introductory adventure. It needs that content, but also having something that you can get many, many, many more games out of. And the Ubersreich guide gives you that. And loads of adventure seeds, loads of interesting NPCs, loads of ideas for your own games.
Should we have a quick look inside it as well? Let's dive inside, because you said you've got like a favourite bit in there as well. So.
It kind of comes from the development of it as well. We've got fun little pages on. I'm very well prepared, as you can tell.
One of the things that is great for this is that it allows you to flick through these different books, because you've done an incredible job on the finish for these.
They look beautiful.
Because they are like labours of love, it seems, from you guys, which is fantastic.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
So what are we looking at now?
So we are looking at Wyland's Rat Catchers. Now the story behind this is, I don't know if you can see the sign there, might be familiar to some people who play the Vermintide game.
Yes. Yeah.
So what we have here is these are the Fat Shark. Some of the Fat Shark guys here. They helped us out with a sort of God mode fly through of Ubersreich. So when we were putting this together, we could bring it as closely aligned to what they've done.
That's brilliant.
It's really good. So they've been immortalised as the rat catchers here.
Just give you another look there, as you can see. That's superb.
That's awesome, isn't it? Yeah.
So the Guide of Ubersreich is like that next extension for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Just saying again, just to take you beyond that starter set and give you the ability to tell new tales and stuff. And then you get yourself the the rulebook and all kinds of things like that, and you can carry on from there, which is pretty cool. There's a whole bunch of other stuff that's actually included in the starter set, which we should probably talk about as well. So we have like a whole bunch of maps and stuff that we can
these are the maps of Ubersreich. So there's one for players and one for GMs with varying levels of detail, and on the other side of them there is the area map, which again, changing levels of detail, so you can hide some stuff from your players that you don't want them to know about.
I absolutely love that. It's great. One of the things, going back actually quickly to the characters thing, because I love the photos that you guys had done, and that ability to just read that first bit of flavor text on the front and sort of that introduction to who they are. So you didn't pick the characters based on just how cool their stats were. It was how cool you thought the characters were.
Yeah.
Because that first investment in role playing, I think, is really important, especially when it comes to something like Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, where combat is obviously like a key part of it and all the tests you do and that kind of thing. But a lot of it is about the character development and sort of how things go forward from there, and sort of like the stories that you uncover and the secrets as you were talking about, which is very, very awesome. And also, playing a Troll Slayer doesn't just mean you get yourself killed all the time. There's some real nuance to playing a Troll Slayer. They are a tragic character. Really.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And also they have the highest cool and consume alcohol scores, so definitely pick those ones, those are mine.
They are, that's perfect stats. And as well as that, you can see some of the stuff we've got laid out here on the table as well. I'm just going to switch over to this camera just so you can see some of the things here. So we've got some cool reference sheets and all kinds of things that come included in the box as well. So you've got they're the handouts, aren't they?
Those are the
handouts there, and then we've got the reference sheets and stuff here. So you've got some really cool stuff to help you get going in the game.
It's a shame there's blood on that one, but we couldn't get a clean one for this
it
session.
is the old world. There's blood everywhere at some point, So, from one Warhammer universe to another one, the Mortal Realms. You guys have been working on Age of Sigmar Soulbound, which I believe is the subtitle for it now, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yep,
it's
the official title.
So looks absolutely amazing. You will have been noticing that I've been covering the Mortal Mondays that you guys do on the website and talking about all the tests and stuff like that. What was the story for you guys getting involved with that with Games Workshop and sort of how that came to be? Because it's fascinating for you to be working on the old world and the Mortal Realms at the same time.
No, absolutely. It was when Games Workshop originally approached us to look into Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, and they were very interested in us taking that on. And we just got talking, and I've always found the Age of Sigmar setting is just amazing in its scope. There's just so much awesome stuff to it. That kind of the conversation just naturally rolled into that. So it's been amazing. Every new release that comes out, it's just getting
gives
better
you new
and better.
ideas. The document where you've been planning everything grows.
Yes.
No, it's been absolutely amazing. I think it was the first from the first rulebook opening it up, and you had there was the first map I came across had a great unclean one with its guts in the river as a landmark. And I thought, okay, this is different.
It's one of the things that I found very interesting, sort of reading through what you guys have been doing as part of the updates and stuff for this, is that while with Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, you've got this real feeling of downtrodden heroes surviving in the world and then becoming potentially the heroic types later on. In Age of Sigmar, it seems to come at it from a different sort of nuanced stance where, for example, you could be playing like a Knight's Questor or something who is, one of Sigmar's chosen. They can call down lightning into their sword to hit people and stuff like that. It's got that kind of like a little bit more of that heroic edge to it, which I thought was fascinating. And that obviously works with the tone of the Mortal Realms and Age of Sigmar as a whole, because you've got some very epic quests and locations you can go and visit.
Absolutely,
So was that something that was really interesting to play around with when it came to the mechanics and stuff? Because you've changed things around for that, because it's not the D100 percentile system anymore, is it? Like, it's done with D6 and stuff and pools, isn't it? So could you give us like an interesting sort of like look into that mechanic pool and how that came about and stuff?
So I think the D6 dice pool decision was on a couple of kind of a very visceral level. It just feels great rolling back,
Yeah.
big loads of D. So if you want that kind of powerful,
Very familiar to people that have played Age of
capable-
Sigmar as well. Which
Yeah.
Absolutely, which
So-
was that was the other thing that played into it. So it seemed like it was quite a natural choice, really. I think to go down that route. Yeah, it was interesting as well with Wrath and Glory. We'll come on to later as well,
Yeah.
because the same conclusion that the Ulysses development team will come to as well. I think with 40k. So that was and actually funny story. We didn't look at what they were doing at all. I think knowing that we were doing D6 dice, we didn't want any kind of unwitting kind of creeping into that. So. Yeah, that's quite interesting. So it's there's a couple of key differences, I think, between the
very big differences. But I mean, the worlds are so very different, and it is all about giving players that heroic empowerment in a lot of ways, and representing like, I'm a huge gold man in armor. This is fantastic, but also very sad in some ways.
Yeah, it was one of the things that was really interesting reading through the stuff you talked about with the mechanics, because if you want to go back and look at that, you can go up to the sort of game hub page you've got on tabletop.com and read through some of the stuff you've done there, and of course your blogs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I really liked the dice pool mechanics and that kind of like testing to a level of successes, but also just needing one to be able to do something as well, which I thought was really good. And it meant that you could play around as a games master with lots of interesting things, not just for solo for individual characters, but also for groups as well.
Absolutely.
And I the example you came up with, the sort of like it's on the skyship and stuff that you put together in the blog, and it was like you need to all do these different tests. So it means that as well as just being like the one person dealing with a certain scenario, you've got everybody feeding your skills into this test.
Yeah.
The GM has set that like barrier that everyone can feed into it because of the way that you've set up the system. I thought was really cool.
Absolutely.
So it's fantastic stuff.
Yeah.
But
I think so.
and so you guys are. Obviously, we talked about the starter set that you guys are doing for Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. You're also doing a starter set for Soulbound as well.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah. Which I've already seen the artwork for. Hopefully, we'll be able to share it in some way underneath the post for this, maybe in the live blog. But it's by the same artist that did the cover, which I believe is going to be for the rulebook. Is it that one with calling that the Night Crystal calling down the light? I can't remember his name. It's going to. Really
His name is Johan Grenier.
That's it, Johan Grenier.
Yeah,
absolutely
incredible.
I went over
artist.
to his art station as soon as I saw that. I wish I could do the rest of his stuff.
Yeah.
I thought this is so cool.
Yeah.
Great.
And so you're going to be doing a similar approach to the Soulbound starter set that you did with the Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay one? Yeah. So we're going to have, obviously you probably can't talk too much about some of the stuff you've got coming in it, but I'd imagine we're going to see a little bit of that starter quest thing, and then a little bit of a guide to the Mortal Realms and stuff like that, which would be really cool.
Absolutely.
I did hear that you're doing, so it's going to be set in the realm of Ashkey, isn't it? So it's the realm of fire.
Yes, that's right.
And is it a new city, or is it one that already has been detailed? Can we talk about that?
We're
It's something cool within that city.
Yeah, what could we
And this
say?
again leads me to something that's fascinating about what you guys are doing with Soulbound, is that it's allowing players to look at Age of Sigmar in a wider scope, but also more detail, and learn about just the day-to-day lives of the people that exist in what is effectively this crazy, almost heavy metal, hair metal world where things are going crazy all the time. So yeah, it'll be fascinating to see how it all comes together.
That's one of the conversations we were having, wasn't it? How do you come back from cannibalism?
That'll be a question you have to answer when you get stuck into Soulbound and stuff. Yeah. So also, you were talking about Wrath and Glory, which is also being is it published by you now? Is it through Cubicle?
Yes,
Yeah,
it is. Yeah, we took that on a couple of weeks ago now. So I get tremendously exciting. I'm go back, huge fan of pretty much everything Games Workshop do for the last more years than I care to remember. It's fantastic to be getting to grips with that, and I think that and to be building on the Wrath and Glory rule set that Ulysses released. It's just great. The first thing that we're doing is the rule book's out of print, so we're sort of doing a Cubicle 7 sort of version of that. So it's exactly the same game. We had to reprint it anyway, so we may as well put our stamp on it as we're doing that. So that's the first thing that we're doing, working through at the moment. We think probably about 3 to 4 months.
Cool. That's pretty awesome. People are going to dive into that. What kind of characters can people expect to be playing when it comes to Wrath and Glory? Because obviously we talked a little bit about that. Play those typical characters from Warhammer Fantasy that you like. You've got this heroic characters in Soulbound. What kind of characters can people play in Wrath and Glory when they get to the table?
It's a hugely broad.
Have we got like Space Marines down to like the lowliest guardsman kind of thing going on?
Absolutely, yeah. Well, you can go all the way up to Primaris now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Just
That's so cool.
slightly taller and 3 more organs. That's what you get. Yeah, the idea was to bring them all together originally, I think, by Ulysses, and there is a lot of mechanics to make that work, so that it works systematically with these differences, perceived differences in power, and open up the 40k universe to make it a lot broader.
Yeah.
'Cause, I mean, it's huge out there.
Yeah.
So we'll let people play however they want to, really.
That's brilliant. Because one of the things that I think is always, as you say, a little bit of a question is that how do you balance a space marine who is,
Absolutely,
you know, a 7-8 foot tall killing
Yeah.
machine versus a guardsman who has barely strapped his armor on, kind of thing, and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But it'd be fascinating to see how that works and stuff in the game.
Bigger
Yeah.
gun, much bigger gun. Just a huge gun, that's it.
And so, beyond what you guys have been doing with Games Workshop, because there's a lot of awesome stuff coming up for this, which is pretty cool. Oh, yes, I should just mention before we go anywhere, you guys have done some awesome stuff for the supplements and sort of things for Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, haven't you? You've got like a new collector's edition for something.
Yeah,
I've forgotten the name, but I'm gonna go for it. What is it?
Yeah, it's the Enemy Within campaign.
The Enemy Within campaign,
Director's
yes,
Cut.
yes, because this is based on an old adventure, wasn't it?
Yes, so the Enemy Within campaign is one of the classic role-playing, one of the best role-playing campaigns of all time. When we were looking at what we were going to do for Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, we realised that it was the 30th anniversary of this campaign starting to be released. I just really wanted to do something special for it and mark the occasion. So we are doing a director's cut. So we've got Graham Davis, who was heavily involved in the original campaign, wrote loads of stuff. He's going through it all and revising it, and I mean, actually, it's not just Graham as well. There's a whole
plethora of people.
Yeah, absolutely. I won't try and list them because I'll in the various. But
you'll remember the career halfway through that.
I will. I'm going to call you at like 1 o'clock in the morning.
Oh God!
Insist you go on air right now. So we've got a huge load of people from the history of the game who are contributing. It's going to be just wanted to do something really special for it. Yeah. So it's a 5-volume campaign. Each volume will have the campaign book. There's a companion as well because there's so much material that we wanted to make available. So you can use that to put more content into the campaign, or more episodes, or extra bits and pieces, just like lots of good fun stuff in those. Yeah. So it's going to be 5 parts, 2 books per part, and I'm a bit of a print geek, so I love playing with formats and stuff like that. And with the rule book. We had the limited edition, which was absolutely beautiful. Really pleased with that. But it was a nice little magnet sealed case and gilded edges.
I still my beating castle.
It was really, really nice.
Yeah.
But one thing with that one was that we printed, it was a limited edition of 1,986, so you get the reference.
Yes, I do.
But a lot more people than that wanted a copy. So we want to make sure that people aren't missing out.
You want everyone to get a chance to play through those adventures and stuff.
Absolutely, yeah. So
in plush style.
Yeah, definitely. It's such a landmark campaign. I think it deserves to have that treatment. So we're doing some collector's editions of those as well. Yeah. So they've got beautiful alternate covers. They're in a slipcase. Again, that kind of same attention to detail and standard finish that the limited edition rulebook had.
Brilliant.
So that's going up for pre-order now. So again, just it's making sure that people have the chance to get a copy if they want to.
So lots of stuff people get stuck into when it comes to Warhammer and all kinds of things like that.
Yes. Yeah. So our new campaigns as well. We've got a brand new campaign that actually Gav Thorpe is
awesome.
developing for us. So I'm really excited about that. And that goes to places that the Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay hadn't gone before. So some new areas opening up. And
great stuff.
It's that mix of I think of bringing the best of the history of the game, along with some awesome new stuff for people to get involved in.
Great stuff. So yes, we got slightly distracted there, but yes, going beyond Games Workshop and you're working with them for the Warhammer Worlds and stuff like that. We've also got some new stuff coming from you guys for the One Ring and sort of where that's going, because you're going towards a new edition of that, which sounds fantastic. Can you give us a little bit of a sort of a deep dive into why you decided to go into the second edition and sort of where you're hoping to go with that design-wise as well?
The One Ring was first released in 2011, so we've sort of got 8 years of playtesting and feedback and things that we would like to do with it. So it's a mixture of us wanting to go back and update the rule set, and also what we've been doing with the One Ring so far. It's kind of like a phase one. So we've had a lot of the adventures have been centered around Mirkwood. And sort of over to we're as far as Bree via Rivendell, and it was time to expand geographically, but also to move the timeline forward. So the first edition has been set 5 years after the Battle of Five Armies, and it's advanced through there. We had the Darkening of Mirkwood campaign, which I still think lots of people haven't finished that campaign. It's is it 40 years in world or something like that? It's
so big.
It's definitely. I think we definitely heard quite a few people who they're playing their original characters' children.
Wow.
So that's great.
That's some awesome storytelling moments.
Yeah. I was one of the great bits I think that went into the One Ring was that Francesco Nepatello, the game designer, when we were working with him, and we were very keen on getting generational rules into it. So just have that kind of that link into the you hear a lot of especially the cultures of men. You get that the lineage is very something that comes into it. Yeah, lots of that. Those stories, so getting certain elements of that in was pretty good, and to encourage that kind of heroic playing as well. So if your character dies in a valorous way, then you get bonuses to your next character and things like that.
It's perfect for Tolkien world.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So it's always good to have a grim but heroic fate.
Grim but heroic. That's the subtitle for the books. But so with what you're doing with second edition, I hear you're going towards sort of Gondor and exploring that, and so where that's going, which sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, a little bit further south.
Yeah.
So
we're looking at Middleearth and
fantastic.
That's great. I mean, one of the things we had with we tested people's patience with the One Ring. we kind of prematurely announced that we were going to be doing a Moria settlement, and we've basically anything. That's the first question we get everywhere. And then, of course, when we realised, now was the time to do the second edition rulebook. There was no, we couldn't really do something as large scale as Moria when we knew we were working on another edition. It's been great to be able to announce second edition, so that we can finally talk about why Moria's been a bit sort of,
But it's something that you hopefully want to dive into in the future, I suppose.
I mean, it's largely written. There's a lot of good stuff. We will have great fun with that one. But,
and obviously one of the key things with what you guys do with not just the One Ring, but also Adventures in Middle-earth as well, is that you draw directly from the books and the source material as well. So you take a really nice approach to that in terms of the cultures and the look and the artwork and the feel of everything that you do. Because you were talking to me a little bit about Gondor and how it's got a little bit of a theme of like Venetian stuff about it, which I thought was fascinating to hear. Because it's a really interesting and different aesthetic to what you would imagine as well. Because a lot of people obviously have the films in their mind and stuff like that, but it's really nice to see this different approach to stuff, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, and it's just a complete coincidence that Francesco is from Venice.
It's as if it was meant to be.
I love that map. There's Tolkien's map where he's got the saying sort of like roughly where the cities are approximate to in terms of climate and things. For like the Shire is Oxfordshire, isn't it? And
And so, beyond sort of like the One Ring and everything like that, are there any other projects that you're working on sort of throughout this year and into next year as well? So you've got, obviously, because you've got a lot of different things that you do, so you've got Doctor Who and all that kind of thing as well, so can you give us a rundown of some of those as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, 12th Doctor source book for Doctor Who should be coming soon with a load of adventures in there, one for each one of his. Have some really, really fun adventures with like temporal trickery at the role-playing table where like you can actually use some story points to affect what you've done in the past so that what you're doing in
Awesome.
the present makes sense.
Cool.
It's a lot of mind-bending stuff. but
Very
it's
Doctor
really,
Who.
really fun. So loads of fun to be had there.
Yeah.
That'll be a really big one.
Yeah.
And then what else should we do?
We've got stuff bubbling away for Lone Wolf.
Yeah,
and,
quite a lot bubbling away for Lone Wolf.
Great stuff. Yeah.
Trying to finish it all off, get
Yeah.
you to the highest tier you could possibly get to,
Yeah.
and true heroism there, all the way to like the highest echelons, which would be really,
Cool.
really nice.
Yeah.
For Lone Wolf as well, because you've got a very nice starter set for that, which I've seen, which is again one of those packed starter sets. I think we can see a theme here. The Cubicle 7 work on really good starter sets, so you get stuck into their roleplay games, so you're
try.
basically paying them forever now, which is great. So, but yeah, so there's a really good Lone Wolf one if you want to get stuck into that, and that's got really nice, interesting style mechanics as well to it that are very different from ones that you might have seen actually as well. which is
Super
very cool.
accessible, really taking on from the heritage of the Choose Your Own Adventure
Yeah.
books and making it perfect for families and for kids, but also plenty for everyone to get stuck into, really.
Yeah, yeah. And so you guys are here obviously throughout the rest of the days here at UK Games Expo. You've got your booth down on the floor. I'm going to test you now. What's your booth number?
Not a clue. I know nothing.
I can tell you where it is in a broader sense, because if you see the stairs, as soon as you come into Hall 1, at the bottom of the stairs is Cubicle 7. So
Yep.
you can see those guys.
There's a massive Warhammer banner in
Yes.
the sky,
Yeah.
so that's what I've been.
And you've
looking
pretty
at.
much got all the things that you can see on the table up for sale there as
Oh,
well.
yeah.
So you've got Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, you've got the starter set and all the things like that,
Yep.
which is fantastic. So you can get that and start diving into it. Maybe if you're coming to the event, you could sit down afterwards in the hotel or something and get stuck into the start of the role play, and with some of the people that you've met here at the convention, which seems like a very good role playing thing to do, very good adventuring party thing to do. Yeah. It's been absolutely fantastic talking to you guys and sort of delving into the worlds that you've created as well. As I
very
say, I love all the things you guys have been doing. Love Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. Really excited for Soulbound. I know a lot of people are as well.
It's going to be great.
Delving into the Mortal Realms in an entirely different way than people have sort of experienced so far, which I think is fantastic.
Yep.
So yeah, make sure to comment on the post on the ontabletop.com website where we've got Monster Apocalypse prizes to go. So we've got 3 prizes to give out. We've got some starter bundles for Friday, Saturday and Sunday. Get stuck into those, pick those up, get some comments in. And there's a whole bunch of other posts and stuff that we've been running throughout the weekend where you can get stuck in and comment on the individual posts to win some prizes there as well. So even if you're not here for UK Games Expo, you can win some goodies to play around with your friends with at home as well, which is really cool. So yeah,
good.
we'll see you guys very, very soon for another bit of the live stream. Bye for now. Thanks guys. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you later.